Hi, I'm Rand Lindsley, co-creator of Trail Designs and the Caldera Cone cooking system. Today we're going to be talking about the Sidewinder. Sidewinder is incredibly stable, incredibly efficient, incredibly wind-resistant pot. In addition, wind-resistant cone system. In addition, it fits inside the pot and is probably Trail Design's biggest seller right now. Let's take a look at what we got. As I noted, everything fits inside your pot. So if you open her up, get a couple sets of instructions, Sidewinder instructions, 1210 stove instructions. 1210 stove fits inside this pot. This pot happens to be an Evernew 1.3. So things like the Evernew 1.3, the AGG 2 quart, the Open Country 2 quart, your taller pots, the 1210 stove is going to fit in just fine. As soon as you get into shorter and shorter pots, the width of the stove is probably not going to be there, so we also sell this with a separate carrying case for the stove, for the smaller pots. In addition, being a Ti-Tri system, which once again does wood burning, solid fuel, and alcohol, our solid fuel graham cracker kit is also included in there. In your graham cracker kit, it comes in a Ziploc bag. Has the 3 Esbit tablets, the 3-gram titanium graham cracker stand, 2 side wings, a aluminum drip pan, and a set of instructions. And then finally, the Sidewinder cone. Fits sideways, winds right up and fits sideways inside your pot. Comes out just like that. And if all you have in there is the Sidewinder cone and not the Inferno, then your fuel bottle kit will fit inside. Fuel bottle kit includes the 5.5 ounce fuel bottle, measuring cup, O-ring sealed lid, reducer, and a set of instructions with that. Your Ti-Tri cone, or your Sidewinder cone I should say, your Sidewinder Ti-Tri, comes wrapped up in this Tyvek sleeve. We've had a few people cut this sleeve off to get at it. Don't do that. The sleeve is actually part of the system. What this is there for is to help protect the inside of your pot. You notice the sleeve wraps around both ends and covers the edge of the cone. Because of that, it will allow you to fit into the pot without scratching it. You don't get that titanium on titanium scratching, or if you have a non-stick pot like this one, you don't want to be scraping your non-stick material off. So like I say, try and leave your Tyvek sleeve in place, intact. You're gonna be glad you did. To get your cone out, unwrap the ends. Might want to stick your fingers in there and kind of wind it up tighter to get it out. You feel the end of the Sidewinder in there. Stick your fingers in there, grab that end, wind it tight, and pull her out. See, it'll kind of corkscrew out like that. Be careful, don't let it spring out and get you. And that's your Sidewinder cone. To assemble your cone, what you want to notice is that you have 2 dovetail joints on either end. One is smaller, one is larger. The smaller one has an angled cut in it. The larger one has a doubling reinforcement on it that's either going to be welded or riveted there. The other advantage of having this angle cut on the smaller dovetail is that you can stab it into the larger dovetail, rotate it in place, and slide it together. That's the way you put your cone together. Stab the dovetail, rotate, slide together. So, in order to cook with your Sidewinder system, you've seen how to put the cone together. You put your pot into your cone like that, with the handles nesting down on that side into the slot. What happens with their pot being all the way in there is that you got not only the heat being captured on the bottom when your stove is going, but it also funnels it up and heats all sides of your pot. In addition, being such a high windscreen like this protects your pot in addition to your stove from all the wind. Let me show you how first to use the graham cracker. Graham cracker, you start with your 3 gram stand and wings. Put the wings into the little side clips on your graham cracker stand, like that. Horizontally is the typical way of doing it, with your tablet in horizontal like that. This keeps your tablet from burning on these 2 sides and only allows it to burn on the top and both ends. Put your graham cracker on top of this aluminum drip pan that we provide in your kit, and that'll not only prevent stuff from dripping into the forest floor for leave no trace considerations, but also can help keep things from catching on fire. Esbit tablets and other solid fuel don't really catch quite as readily as other fuels, so I recommend a windproof lighter to fire it off. Just hold it on there, let it cook. As you can see, it catches pretty quickly, but you got to cook it for a good bit. Once it catches, grab your Sidewinder, drop it on top, putting it right in center of the pot. You don't want it to be off on either side because it's going to heat up the side and vent out and not actually be heating up the pot quite as well. You can blow your Esbit out and reuse it later very easily. For alcohol mode with the Sidewinder, in order to fit sideways in your pot, needs to be a little bit shorter. Consequently, there isn't quite as much room above the stove to really develop the flame front we're looking for. Consequently, we provide 2 stakes to go into your Sidewinder to prop your pot up. Put these 2 stakes in this orientation, going across the opening. Don't go this way. If you go that way, it tends to pinch the cone shut too much. Now when you drop your pot in there, it sits just slightly up a little bit higher, just enough to make the stove work better. This isn't enough to actually change the efficiency, any measurable degree that we've been able to see, but it makes the stove run way, way better. For your stove, you're going to want to put in at least a ½ ounce of fuel. I already had a little bit in there from before. If you actually are going up a little higher in altitude where the boiling point of water is a little lower, you can maybe use a little less. Typically, you'll probably want to use slightly more because your water is going to be colder, your ambient temperature is going to be colder, maybe it's going to be a little windy, whatnot. For the 1210 stove, I like to use an extended nozzle lighter to get down in there. Fire that off. It's going good now, and you can feel it by holding your hand up high. Drop your pot on top of it like that. 6-7 minutes, you got 2 cups of boiling water. Now let's go check out how to do this with wood burning. Sidewinder has a couple of optional available accessories. You saw them just recently in the wood burning demo. The first is the titanium floor. Titanium floor is available for leave no trace purposes and comes in this 2-piece floor with a hole in each corner so that you can stake it down and keep it together. And this is going to be wide enough so that your Sidewinder fits perfectly on top of it, covers all the way out past the cone. Optionally, there's the Inferno floor. So if you order the Inferno, this is the floor you'll get. It's lighter, and it's actually better because as the Inferno comes down to a narrow point with its inverted cone, it gets smaller, and this will actually cover all of the coals that will fall through on it. As the cone fits on top, you can still stake it down, you can still get access to it, but the Inferno will be totally on top of that. Another accessory that you saw during the wood burning demonstration is the Inferno. The Inferno comes with the titanium inner cone, the upside down cone, that goes together like this. The grate stand, and the grate with its own Tyvek sleeve to once again protect your pot when you store it inside. Grate stand goes in there, Tyvek sleeve on top. Caldera cone, your Sidewinder cone on top of that. With the stakes in place, pot will sit just like that. Now that you're done cooking and you've cleaned up your pots and pans and are ready to pack everything up, let's see how we do that. I'm going to demonstrate packing everything up with the Inferno since that's the superset of the packing scenarios. First thing you want to do is take your Inferno grate and the supplied Tyvek sleeve. Again, don't cut your Tyvek sleeves. Stick it in there. That fits perfectly into the bottom of your pot. The Tyvek sleeve comes up around the edges, protects the edge of any non-stick pots or anything else you have. Next, you're going to want to take your other Tyvek sleeve that again you haven't cut and start rolling up your titanium cones and floors and put in that. What I like to do is first put my floor in there. Start by wrapping your floor up into a tight cone, sliding it down inside the sleeve. Let it expand out, and that holds everything open for the next step. Next, I like to do the Inferno. A lot of people like to put their Ti-Tri in first, but I do the Inferno. Main reason being is that your Sidewinder Ti-Tri is always needed. So that should be the first thing you want to pull out. You may not be pulling out your Inferno sometime when you're using alcohol or Esbit, so you want to leave that in. Consequently, I would be putting the floor and the Inferno in first. Once again, disconnect the dovetail joints by sliding them apart. Roll them up into a nice tight cone. And slide it down inside the floor. Again, let it expand out. Holds everything nice and round. Next, slide the dovetail joint off of the Sidewinder. Roll that up. Stick that down inside your Inferno. Next step is fold the ends of the Tyvek sleeve in, again, so that it'll protect your pot when you pack it in there. Now here's the trick. You want to take this thing and press it together. And what that'll do is that'll take those kind of somewhat randomly wrapped cones and straighten them out to as short a position as possible. That way it'll fit into your pot better. At this juncture, I like to stick my Inferno grate stand down the center of this tube here. If you recall, when we first unpacked it, the alcohol bottle was in there. You can't get the alcohol bottle and the Inferno in there. It's one or the other. Again, we typically recommend that you pack your alcohol bottle outside of your cooking containers. Denatured alcohol isn't good for you, so keep it out of your cooking pots. Once you get your nice tidy setup in there, let's stick that in the pot. Should drop right in, but if it doesn't, what you can do is squeeze it just a little bit, make it a little bit longer, and it should fit right in. Next, your 1210 stove will drop in right next to it. Graham cracker, drop in right there. Lid on top, and you're ready to go. As a reminder, if you have a 900 milliliter, 600 milliliter Evernew, or any of the smaller pots, 1210 stove will be slightly too tall and consequently will need to be packed outside the pot. The stakes also are too long to fit in the pot, so you'll need to pack those into your stake bag. That's it. Thanks for watching. head on over to traildesigns.com and take a look at all the other cool backpack and ultralight killer gear we got over there. Thanks for watching. Bye.